Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon? As always, this video is not intended to be an in-depth guide or build, but rather a high-level overview using 4 criteria to help you decide whether you should spend your hard-earned vouchers and crystals on these characters. How they fit into your team, whether they unlock any bonds, what kind of content they get used for, and their future availability. So let's hop right into this Destiny banner featuring Bozel, Liana, and Luna, running from April 2nd to April 15th. Now, because it's a Destiny banner, the first SSR character that you summon is guaranteed to be one of these 3 that you don't already have. After your first SSR, then this reverts to a normal rate-up banner, so then you can start pulling off-banner characters. First we have Bozel. He's an AoE blanket debuff specialist and an all-round super useful character for both PvE and PvP. He's a member of Dark Reincarnation, buffed by Bozel, so he does bring his own faction buff. In fact, he's the only one who buffs this faction so far. And he's also a member of Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth. For bonds, he unlocks the defensive bond for Farakia and the upcoming character Ares. He also unlocks the attack bond for Bernhardt, Egbert, and the upcoming character Licorice. For his own bonds, he needs Egbert for his defensive bond and Farakia for his attack bond. Although his attack bond isn't super high priority since he generously converts his magic defense to his int. For content, Bozel's useful for pretty much everything. In PvE, he's on faction for Fenrir in Ancient Beckoning. He's also very useful for Leviar in Eternal Temple and for the Ice Dragon. He's useful for AoE bomb strategies in Timeless Trials and many tricky challenges, and also has access to a summon, which can be useful for Leviar to draw debuffs, or any strategies that involve kiting or baiting enemies. In PvP, he's a common meta pick for Apex Arena for a few reasons. He's the only character with the Dark Faction buff, which can be handy for other characters depending on who you want to bring. He's good for blanketing opponents with debuffs, and his skill Seal has the potential to silence enemy casters. And he can also use Sleep, which can stun an opponent. Some of the downsides to using Bozel are that many well-prepared opponents will be immune to his silence and sleep effects, so you might not get the full benefit out of him. But still, the potential of being able to hit the entire enemy team with a bunch of debuffs is really useful. For availability, this same Destiny banner should be coming back in late August. Next we have Liana, who's one of the 2 game-changing healers and one of the best overall characters in the game in terms of usefulness. In addition to being a great healer with passive healing and debuff removal, she's also the only character in the game with Act Again, which is a spell that lets the target unit act again. She's a member of Protagonists, buffed by Matthew, Legion of Glory, buffed by Ledin, Elwyn, and Grenier, and Princess Alliance, buffed by Shelfaniel and Luna. For bonds, she unlocks the attack bonds for Scott and Elwyn. And for her own bonds, she needs Hein for her defensive bond, and Elwyn for her attack bond. For content, Liana's another character that gets used for everything. In PvE, she's useful for keeping your whole team healthy. She can use Act Again to help big DPS units erase 2 enemies immediately, especially useful for units that can move again after attacking, like Leon. She also has access to a summon, which can be useful for Leviar to draw debuffs, or for any strategies that involve kiting or baiting enemies. In PvP, every Apex box needs a handful of healers, and she's one of the best. In addition to the threat of Act Again, she also has Gospel, which can essentially make up for a missing faction buff. And for availability, as I mentioned earlier, this same Destiny banner should be coming back in late August. Finally, we have Luna. Luna is one of the most versatile DPS units in the game. She can move again after attacking, or before attacking with Wind Spiral, giving her huge effective range. She converts her magic defense to attack, giving her potentially huge attack numbers. She also has a 3-cost skill that creates an aura that allows any non-flying ally that passes close to her to move an additional 2 tiles unhindered by terrain. She's a member of Origins of Light, buffed by Dehart, Jugler, and Freya, Princess Alliance, buffed by Shelfaniel and Luna, so she carries her own faction buff as well, and Strategic Masters, buffed by Ultimuller and Lanford. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bond for Claret and the attack bond for Lewin, and for her own bonds, she needs Lewin for her defensive bond and Dehart for her attack bond. Her attack bond isn't as high priority since she attacks based on her magic defense, but for PvP purposes you may eventually want to invest in it to get her skill up above Omega's threshold. For content, in PvE, she's reliable DPS in pretty much any PvE content. She's great against the Dark Dragon, and she can be used against the Ice Dragon in her Archer class. She's great against Leviar. She's also on faction for Phoenix and Valkyrie. In Ancient Beckoning, she's useful in the fights against Jormungandr, Nidhogg, and Sleipnir. She's also a common threat in Apex Arena, especially with her 3-cost skill to boost mobility for your whole team. And for availability, once again, this same Destiny banner should be coming back in late August. Functionally what this means is that if you only manage to get 1 or 2 of these characters, you can set yourself up later on in the summer to have a guaranteed Destiny pull then. So just to wrap up, we have Bozel, who's the Dark Reincarnation faction buffer. He unlocks bonds for Ares, Bernhardt, Egbert, Farakia, and Licorice, and he's a top tier hero for PvE and PvP. Liana has access to Act Again, Gospel, and Big Heals. She unlocks bonds for Scott and Elwyn, and simply put, she's one of the best heroes in the game. And Luna is a Princess Alliance faction buffer. She unlocks bonds for Claret and Lewin, and she's a top tier hero for both PvE and PvP. In case it's not obvious already, I highly recommend to summon on this banner unless you already have all 3 of these characters. Any one of these characters is virtually guaranteed to be able to fit into whatever kind of team setup that you currently have going. Just one final reminder about upcoming banners. We do have a banner with new heroes Akaya and Brenda scheduled to come out next week. So if you're a big collector and you'd rather wait to use some vouchers on that banner, you do have the chance to try your luck there, and then come back to this one since it'll still be running for another week. When this banner goes away, it should be replaced by a Lambda, Gizaroff, and Sigma banner, aka the Unlocking Omega's Bonds banner. So hopefully this video was helpful. Be sure to leave a comment letting me know who you're hoping to summon, and if you had any luck summoning those characters. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon.